Solar has taken performance scooters to a whole new level with the Hyperion. They say this can top out at 65 miles per hour. Ooh, I am shaky going that fast, dang. It can almost hit 50 miles per hour in one city block. Here we go. This is the first scooter in the world to have electroluminescent lighting, which just looks beautiful. I love that effect. And you got 3 riding modes, which I'll play around with later on in the review. But first I want to give you a little background information about Solar. These guys are based in the UK, and about 3 or 4 years ago, their team only had 3 people. And now they have 2 locations in the US. They got one in Miami and LA, and soon in New York. They've got more than just scooters. They have their first dirt bike that they just released that apparently can go 60 miles per hour. I may or may not have one of those coming. The Hyperion is the latest scooter that they just released, and it is pretty expensive. It's going for $3,300. It comes in 2 colors, and then there's 4 options for what they call their Tron deck, and that's the lighting along the deck. It also has a 2-year warranty. They offer free shipping. It weighs 110 pounds. It's a beast, and it can carry up to 330 pounds. Now this scooter is a prototype. If you pick this up, yours will come with fenders. And this also comes with an app that they're also working on. When it works properly, it gives you turn-by-turn navigation. There's a little arrow and will tell you how many feet you have to go before you turn. Again, this is the prototype, so there's a few kinks in this one. Now the thing I love most about this scooter is the power. So that's where I want to start the review off at. You got 2 4,500 watt motors, and that's nominal, that's not peak. And then there's 3 different riding modes. In the advanced settings, you go to mode, you got Tour, Eco, and Sport. And then you got your traditional 5 speed modes. And I like how it changes color as you go higher in the modes. So with everything maxed out, let's see if I dare go 65 miles per hour. The fastest I've ever gone has only been 50 miles an hour. That's 51 miles an hour. Going 51 miles an hour standing up, that is a rush. Woo! Okay guys, now that I'm off the road, I want to talk a little bit more about that test. I was kind of bummed I didn't go faster. You're paying a lot of money for this. I was expecting more power past 50. I was holding the throttle down for like 3 to 4 seconds, and it was just bouncing back and forth between 50 and 51 miles per hour. And that road was a slight downhill too. But for my weight of 180 pounds, I felt it was topping out about 50 to 51. Now, if you do want to go that fast, there's a couple of things that I would suggest doing to make it more stable. And the first one is I'd make sure that you have road grade tires. They do offer this on all-terrain tires. I specifically asked for the road tires because I wanted this as a speed scooter. The second thing has to do with the suspension. There's 2 things you can do to increase the stability. First, you have this round dial, has an R on it and a plus and minus. This is your damping, and so you can just turn this. This is going to adjust the rebound, how fast or slow it rebounds. The second thing you want to adjust is the spring tension. At the very bottom, you can turn this piece, and that will squeeze or release the spring tension. Now I want to show you all the different things you can do to customize it, like turning the motors on and off, different riding modes, speed modes, things like that. And the first is the difference in takeoff power between the 3 riding modes. I really didn't feel like there was too much difference between the 3 levels, so now I'm gonna cut one of the motors. And you can do that by just hitting the power button. Well, there's a big difference there. Single's obviously gonna be a lot less powerful than duals. The last thing I wanna do is show you a comparison between the speed modes. Oh, they did a very nice job on managing the power per the speed mode, because on speed mode 1, that is very slow. Other dual motor scooters don't typically change the takeoff power. All they do is they change the top speed, like how fast it's gonna top out at. This one does both. So when you have it set to the highest speed mode and sport mode in the riding modes, you have got some tremendous takeoff power. It is fast. I can hit 43 miles per hour in 1 block. The other day, when the battery is fully charged, I did the same stretch and I hit 47 miles an hour. That's the fastest takeoff out of any scooter I've tried. The last thing I want to talk about as far as power is hill climbing power. The hill that I took it up is over a 20% grade, half block long. I started in the middle of the hill and then just hung on for dear life as it just quickly took me to the top. It's time to talk about brakes, because you got to have brakes to stop a monstrous, powerful beast like this, and you got pretty good braking power. These are not hydraulic brakes. Now the right side controls the front brake, the left side the rear brake. And then when you hit either of the levers, there's a second set of lights that come on in the tail light. In the advanced settings, there's 3 different levels of regen brakes. I have had them on 0 for most of this test, so I'm gonna put them on level 5 and see how they feel. For light braking, not bad. Not nearly as jarring as most electric brakes that I've tried. And then for some hard braking, woo, yeah, you've got a lot of stopping power. And one of the reasons why is because of how huge this tire is. That's over 3 inches wide, which means there's a lot of surface area hitting the road. The next thing I'm gonna talk about is the range, because you got a huge battery. That's a 70 volt, 40 amp hour. It's UL certified, takes 7 to 9 hours for a full charge, and they say that can take you up to 70 miles. The last few features I wanna talk about have to deal with the ride and feel. And the first thing is the size of the deck, which is over 1 foot wide and 2 feet long. So when it comes to standing room, you got plenty. The tail actually is angled at a pretty good angle, so it's very comfortable to use. There's this handle, so you can lift it up if you need to pop it over a curb or something. And then we have the stem height, which is just a very tall stem. I'm 5'11", and that comes to my low chest. There's also a nice bend to my arm. So I like the stem height. I like how wide the handlebars are. That matches the power of the scooter. The wider they are, the more control you have. It's a super quiet ride. Pretty much 0 noise coming from the motors. The tires being road grade don't make a lot of noise either. There's just a few more things I want to show you. There's a pretty bright headlight in the front. Wiring's a little bit messy. The Hyperion sticker's coming off. I like the size and the feel of the grips. You got 2 control pads. This is the first one that controls the headlights. You also have turn signals and a horn. The turn signals don't show up on the screen, but when they're turned on, you can see there's a light on there. And then they show up in the tail light, and then to turn them off, you have to hit them again. On the right side is the other control panel, plus and minus and power button. I like the thumb throttle. Don't have to move it that much for the power to engage. I prefer this type of throttle over the trigger style throttles that I see on a lot of dual motor scooters. And that's pretty much it for the Hyperion from Solar. As far as performance, I thought it did pretty good. Achieving 51 miles per hour standing up is no small feat. This is by far the fastest scooter off the line that I've ever reviewed. Over 40 miles per hour in one city block is just awesome. But let me know what you guys think. Hit me up in the comments if you have any questions. As always, I appreciate you guys hopping on here and checking out my content, and I'll see you on the next one. Vroom, 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 vroom. I'm leaving. Vroom, vroom, vroom.